Hi guys. Okay, we have part 1, take 2 of present over perfect coming at you. It's a few more sections than the first video, so I promise to do my best to be brief, but we can't skimp on the information and the value that is inside of these chapters. So I'm starting on page 39, Dethroning the Idol. That's where we're picking up in our present over perfect chapter reviews. She shares in this chapter that busyness is an illness of the spirit. And for her, this chapter centered around the fact that for many, many years, she was caught up in this need to be busy, right? She admits that she was a workaholic all the way through high school, into college, and beyond. She had the realization that her to-do list and being capable and strong and busy and reliable, that's how she framed her identity. But it wasn't making her happy. She wasn't paying attention to the cues in her own health that she was headed down a path of destruction. She admits that she was running from something. And I wonder how much truth there is in that statement for many of us. What are we running from, those of us workaholics that feel the need to fill our time and our to-do list? I have some thoughts for you about that for myself, but I'm going to wait until a few more sections. In the next chapter, she talks about her experience with her church, about putting up chairs. You put up the chairs. Let me follow along in my book. Okay. I hope you have a life you're proud of. If you find that you are not, I hope you have the strength to start all over again. Isn't that really what this book is about? Reframing our life from the inside out. So she talks about how they were building their church and struggling with keeping up, and a very wise man advised them, but this was your plan, right? You guys built this church, but that was met with but, and he, finally said, you just keep adding more chairs. And so the realization there is that, you guys, we have control, right? We have control. We are all so busy, right? How many times do you guys hear that? Like in your messages with friends or family members, oh my gosh, we're just so busy. Nobody has time to work on health and fitness goals. We all put ourselves last, right? As busy moms, because we're running our kids all over the place. Like, why? I went to a talk at the school a few months ago about online, like technology, internet safety. Oh, our power just went out. And she kind of had some harsh words to say to us in that respect, like, we're creating these children that we have right now by giving them devices when they're 10 and allowing them to be in an online social media world that usually was reserved for adults. Okay, you guys, so like, we're in control, right? We are the ones in charge of our busy schedule. We can stop putting up chairs, and that should feel empowering. What are you going to do about the busyness in your schedule right now? Okay? We pretend we don't have a choice, but we do. The most empowering word. So that's where we are next. The word that changes everything. I love this because this actually feels really good. I first started learning about saying no when I listened to Chalene Johnson and her 30-day push and her smart success, some of the tools I've used from her. You have to start to say no. You have to be careful with the yeses that you say, because if you say too many yeses, you're in a sense, in reality, saying no to something else, and you need to be careful what you say no to. But it is this use of the word no that's going to allow us to rebuild our life from the inside out, okay? You cannot have a yes without a no. That is so very true. And if you're going to change, you must start saying no. And then this I loved. She said, draw closer to the people who will honor your no. Well, that's all of you guys, right? People are not going to receive it well when you start to say no. I've experienced that firsthand. But I'll tell you what, for the last 2 years, I haven't been a room mom or on one committee at the school for my kids. Nope. I'm sorry. Thank you so much for thinking of me. I won't be able to do that right now. You have the ability to say no. And people don't have to like it, so you surround yourself with the people who will. That leads very well into on disappointing people. Lindsay was talking about this in her post yesterday. I think this is my thing. I told you I was going to share with you. I'm going to read this chapter, this paragraph on page 52. I know this because I was one of those people. For so many years, I was deeply invested in people knowing that I was a very competent, capable, responsible person. I needed them to know that about me, because if that was true about me, I believed I would be safe and happy. If I was responsible and hardworking, I would be safe and happy. I think that's largely true for me. I think it might be because of being the oldest child. I was always good in school. I got good grades. I was a good runner. People looked up to me in my school. My parents, praised me. And somewhere along the lines, I just attached my identity to being able to handle it all, being able to get it all done, having the perfect life, never getting in any trouble, like never letting anybody down. And that became a large part of my identity. And really until the last few years, even still today, I struggle with what people think. And my husband regularly has to remind me, it doesn't matter what people think. Here's the good news. You get to decide who you're going to disappoint. Okay, and I like this. This was helpful. She talked about the concentric rings. Okay, aim to disappoint the people closest to you, and that's your spouse, your children, and your very best friends. Aim to disappoint them least. And then from there, you'll have your extended family, and from there, your colleagues and professional, people in your life. And so that'll be how you determine who you say no to. Okay, say no to those people closest to you less. Here's what you need to know along the way. This spoke to me. A sense of God's deep, unconditional love and a strong sense of your own purpose. That's all that matters, you guys. That's all that matters. Without those two things, a deep sense of God's love and a sense of purpose, you'll need from people what is only God's to give. And you'll give up on your larger purpose in order to fulfill the smaller purposes of those people around you. It's not about what other people think about you, you guys. And the other thing that I have a few more things I highlighted. I'm committed to a particular limited number of things in the season. And if what's being asked of me isn't one of those, then it stands in my way. Okay, so if you're being asked to do something and it takes you away from your spouse, your family, or your very closest friends, it stands in the way of the season that you're in your life. And that needs to be the reflection that you bounce every decision off of, every question that you're asked, every commitment that you're asked. It's the litmus test, she said. Use those inner circles to disappoint the people closest to you less and start to say no. And then the most deepest chapter in the end to the way she finishes this part one is what the lake teaches. And she talks about the pull or the love, maybe the idea of moving to the lake, but really it's not a place to live. It's a place to get away. We all need a place to get away, to make us think, to be calm, to allow us to see patterns and rhythms and the dimensions of our life more clearly. She spends a lot of time in this part of the book talking about how she has gone through her seasons of life. And some of being an adult is about protecting and preserving what we discover to be the best parts of ourselves. And here's a hint. They're almost always the parts we've struggled against for years. They make us weird or different, unusual, but not in a good way. They're our child sides, our innate selves, not the most productive or competitive or logical, just true, just us. very simply who we are, regardless of how much quantitative value we add. This chapter, she really digs deep, you guys, to help us understand that what people think about us means nothing. It means nothing in comparison to what you believe about yourself and about the love of God our Father, and that is all that matters. Love, grace, connection, and peace. Stop running, you guys. Stop running with a busy to-do list and a calendar and schedules and things you cannot possibly keep up with. Stop running. Stop running from anxiety and fear and the desire to prove things, running from shame and inadequacy. You guys, we are enough. We are beautifully and wonderfully made, and it is God's love that is all we need, and we are made for a purpose. I've said that for so long now. We are made for a purpose, and when you understand that you have God's love regardless of who or what you are, down to the very bare bones, you are made for a purpose and a calling and a vision, and He loves you, and that's all that matters. Share your takeaways with me, you guys. Thank you so much, Lori, for sharing this week. This is just awesome. And God is awesome. His love is awesome. Our group is awesome. And we can be present over perfect. We are. We just have to learn to say no. Thank you, guys.